Welcome, broadcast viewers. Dr. George Kosmides. Good day to you all. Make sure that I'm being received okay. I'm broadcasting from the big island of Hawaii, and signal is not always great here, but love it anyway. Hey, Iraq Nur, thanks. Hey, thanks for joining, guys. Thanks. Give you guys a few minutes to come in before I go through this topic today to edify you and empower you. You guys can follow me here by hitting the icon on the lower part of your screen, the three dots, and you can follow me out by hitting the three dots, and you can follow me by hitting the icon in the lower hand corner. That'd be, hey, from Korea, how is it? Where are you guys from? Following me today? That's awesome. Hey, Rocky, thanks for joining. Hello. Hey, Kim, thanks for joining the broadcast. I'm going to break down something really simple today, and you guys can find out more about me by going to leanbodyacademy.info. A lot of cool free information is there. Of course, my programs. Thanks for following me. Awesome. LBA Pat, there's a member that's Lean Body Academy directed. That's just awesome. Hope you guys are hearing me okay. I'm on a special wired mic just to improve my audio presentation for you guys. Thanks for the hearts, loving those red hearts. Thanks for the super hearts. I know what that is. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to break down something for you guys that's kind of misleading, and I'm going to sort some things out so I can accelerate your, not only your weight loss, but your fat loss and your laboratory results and your overall improvement. Thank you so much. Hey, super, thanks for joining me. Again, you guys can follow me by hitting the icon in the lower hand corner, and if you share me out, I will try and give you a shout if I'm not in the middle of a sentence, but that'd be just awesome. Thanks so much. I'm using Periscope Producer. For those of you that asked, and for those of you that don't care, that's okay too. Hey, Kim, thanks for inviting your followers. Much appreciated. I want to give a shout out to the folks in Texas. I hope you guys, I think the worst is over, but blessings to you guys. Yeah, any comments or not PG comments, you will be extricated from my broadcast. Hey, John, you were just on the coaching call today. That'll be up in your Lean Body Academy members later on today. Just ridiculous what people post, but I guess that's why we live in a democracy. All right. Yeah, ridiculous. Okay, let me begin with my broadcast. BMI versus lean body mass. How many of you know what BMI is? Put up an A. If you're on this, it's really important, guys, if you want to get your health and you really want to focus on that. Yeah, pretty ridiculous. So what is BMI? BMI, hey, Sean, BMI is an old, antiquated term by basically, and they give some numbers, 0.45% of your body weight, which is ridiculous. Yeah, it's an antiquated, it should go away with the dodo bird. It's a dinosaur. And just to give you a brief sidebar, I was actually denied life insurance by Metropolitan Life because my BMI was way off. I was 5'7", I was about 185 pounds, my body fat was only 12%, and they denied me because my BMI was off. So basically what the BMI is, they're measuring your height to weight ratio, and they're calculating out on the scale. Why is that bad? It doesn't take into consideration your body fat percentage. That's the main element. If you have body fat issues, it's definitely, for you women that are above 30%, they're definitely contributing to your health problems. If you're above 30% body fat, your risk of endometrial breast and uterine cancer goes through the roof. And again, don't believe me or anybody else in a medium like this. Go to PubMed, type in body fat and cancer, body fat and breast cancer. For us men, it definitely plays a role in our andropause, or our hormone from the men's perspective. So forget about BMI. It's absolutely ridiculous and antiquated. Women should be below 30%, more around the 25 percentile range. Try to get closer to 20. In the Lean Body Academy, I show you how to calculate that out. Once you have some numbers, then you can begin to move forward. But you have to have a more cerebral approach than just restricting your calories or going off the BMI. I mean, that's just, to me, with the amount of information we have today, it's just appalling that people still use that as a gauge. 15% for women is good. If you get down close to 11, what you'll begin to experience is amenorrhea. You actually lose your cycle. Once around 11%, 12%, menstrual cycle will fade away. Fitness models and women who are very lean marathon runners have a tendency to lose their cycle during high competition stages. It comes right back once their body fat begins to climb. But body fat is key, especially if you have issues with thyroid, hormones, swinging dynamics of your personality. Body fat is playing a role. So again, BMI is your base metabolic index. It is an antiquated system. It should not even be taught anymore because they're not looking at the quality. So I'll give you a brief example. If you take two people, one of them is let's say 5 foot. Let's take a woman. If you take one woman who's 5 foot and she's 125 pounds, I'll answer that in a second. But she's 35% body fat. You take the same weighted woman who's 25% body fat, you will see two different bodies. Two totally different bodies, because it's the body fat percentage that plays a key. And the problem is that's not being taught. It's all about weight loss and shrink your size. It's ridiculous. You have to reduce body fat. The problem is most programs don't teach you how to drop body fat reasonably. And it's not about going to the gym or any of these ridiculous diets or boot camps. It's about doing things consistently, lowering your glycemic index. And a lot of you guys heard of Atkins or paleo. They're working on that dynamic, but those are extremes. What I advocate, what I recommend is understanding some deeper dynamics so you can apply these things reasonably, and your family can eat along with it and they won't even know it. That's the real cerebralness of what I do in the Lean BodyAcademy. My coaching calls, we just had one today, and deals with a lot more dynamics of why we think the way we think. It's how we've been taught. So for those of you that are beating yourself up, you feel like you're on a weight loss treadmill, not getting anywhere, most cases it's not you, it's what you're being taught. And if you're being taught BMI is what you need to focus on, it's antiquated in so many ways. It's not accurate. You're not a sack of potatoes. You're a living, breathing human being that has a body fat percentage. That's what needs to be focused on. And if your program isn't looking at your body fat percentage loss and measuring it accurately, teaching you how to do that, in my opinion, they're using 1950s technology. Come on, we're in the almost 2018 here. Let's get up to speed. And you guys are smart enough to do that. Now, let me answer a question I had. I'll start answering questions now. So that's why BMI is antiquated and why the BMI versus lean body mass calculation, it's night and day. It's like driving a Model T versus a, Ferrari or Porsche or something. Total different dynamics. What about thyroid disorder? Here's what you have to understand. Your muscles is what drives your metabolism. Your thyroid is the hormone, but your muscles are what elevates your body. How many of you begin to add more muscle to your body, and if one of the first things you notice is what? You start getting warmer, having a direct effect on your metabolic rate. But in our minds, it's, I've got a thyroid disorder. There's nothing I can do. I have to take this. No, you have to find out what your body fat percentage is and start working on that. Yeah, most of us do. But Alex, the first thing we have to understand is, how do we support the muscle that we have? How do we do that? The first thing is knowing what our body fat percentage is and how much of what we're walking around with is muscle. My lean body mass is about 148 pounds. I'm about 175, but that extra weight is body fat. The 145 is what I need to focus on supporting. Each of you on this call today has a particular number. It's not that difficult, but you can make choices every day that are simple. The media has us believing that we have to do some dynamic program that's going to take hours a day. It doesn't have to be that way. The work happens up here. I've done it all for you in the academy with my coaching calls, and calls like this get you to think. And if you don't think about your health when you still have it, it'll be much more difficult to think about it when you start losing it. Now it becomes tough. gets really tough. Okay, any more questions on this? This post will be in leanbodyacademy.info. It'll be in my blog post page. Should be in there sometime today. You guys can revisit it. Again, I'm Dr. George Kosmides. Leanbodyacademy.info is where you can check me out. All kind of free resources there. Must-read books to podcasts, everything to help get you thinking and get you out of this mode that you're wrong. In most cases, you're not wrong. It's your methods that you're using. They're antiquated, they're old school, and they blame you. You're not exercising enough, you're not walking enough. All these kind of antiquated ideas of getting our health back, not focusing on weight loss, focusing on fat loss. You need a radio show. And I appreciate, thank you so much, but I'm very factual, and I go with science. And unfortunately, science is usually the last thing you hear in the media. What they hear is trends, what's trending, not what's scientifically valid. What does the research have to say? What are the PhDs, who've got 15 years of research experience? What are they saying? That's who I go by, not what the latest celebrity is doing. It's I could really care less. I want results. I want results for the average person, just like you and me. Have a wife, family, job. What can we do day in, day out to change our health, drop our body fat, change our lab work? Okay. When we change our lab work through our lifestyle, it's much more impactful than changing it synthetically. Okay. Focus on healthcare, and you can do that just by your daily habits, but you have to know what habits to infuse into your lifestyle. Most of them are extreme. It's either talk about detoxing or water fast or all those things. And I'm not saying they're good or bad. I'm just saying, what is sustainable? What knowledge do you leave with? If you go to there's a lot of good wellness retreats. What are they teaching you to come back to your daily life with? That's what I teach. What's sustainable? I want people to say, that was really a good weekend, but man, the principles are so much easier to follow. And I like to say, I steal from everyone. I steal with what works, not what we want to hear. Oh, you can wrap your body, you'll lose. Thank you. You'll lose 10 pounds in 10 days. Okay, where's that weight coming from? Mostly it's coming from your water, pulling out of your blood in your brain. Raise your blood pressure. Cause homeostasis imbalance. Is that really the way you want to go forward? Will you lose weight? Sure you will. It will come back plus, because your body is now being thrown out of homeostasis. Thank you so much. So we need to think about what we're doing. You have a blessed day as well. We need to think about what we're doing and what our goal is. No, it's not that complicated. The media makes us think it's complicated, but it's very simple. The steps that I take in the academy and my books are very forward-moving. But my coaching calls, a lot of them are all about getting it sorted out up here. Whether it's self-loathing or deprivation, all that sort of business. We don't want to get involved in that. So, basal metabolic index, antiquated, lean body mass, that's the future. You're going to see more and more research on body fat and our health and our hormones. How many of you on this call right now have huge hormone swings? You're happy one day, you're super depressed the next. Your body fat, according to research now, not me, I'm just a George Nobody. According to research, for you women, body fat above 25% is actually influencing what's called hormone expression. So it's altering who you are as a person. Okay, so to lump, and I've seen people 115 pounds with a 45, 50% body fat. That means they're 115 pounds, but 50, some odd percent of that is fat. I don't know. Where's the weight coming from? Do you see? Weight is arbitrary. You're not a sack of potatoes. You have muscle, you have bone, and you have fat as the three main tissues. If you're dropping 2 pounds a week just because you're limiting your calorie intake, I can guarantee you 90% of that's muscle. Maybe none of it's from fat. You have to put yourself in the body's metabolic state to burn fat for fuel, and it doesn't take an extreme measure like an Atkins or a paleo to do that. They don't talk about food timing. I do. They don't talk about protein mass for your lean body mass, which I do. Fundamental things. Why they don't talk about it, I don't know. I'm kind of happy they don't, because I'm the only program that does, and my members get extreme changes, 3, 4, 5% body fat reduction in just a few months. body fat reduction. Notice I didn't say weight loss. Again, I go back to the person who's 130 pounds. That's 20% versus that's 130 pounds, same height. That's 30%, two total different bodies. Do they weigh the same? Yeah. So who really cares about weight gain? What I like to say is when you get around 15% body fat, your weight's irrelevant. Who cares? Now, if you did it to an extreme measure, well, that's one thing, but you don't have to be extreme. You just have to be cerebral, and I teach all that. Thanks for joining my broadcast. You guys can share me out by hitting the 3 dots. Will share me out, and I'll give you a shout for doing that. And you guys can follow me by hitting the icon on the right, the little, or left, depending on the phone that you have, the little white icon. I'm using OBS Producer. That is my website, leanbodyacademy.info. All kind of free information is there. You can know when I'm going to broadcast, download Periscope, check me out on my Facebook fan page. My goal is to enlighten you because I think you guys are smart. Hey, Alexa, thanks for sharing me out. I think you guys are really smart. And I think all you need to do is the education step by step. And you guys can take control of your health. Maybe 10 minutes a day of effort, 15 minutes a day of effort. I think you're worth that. The last thing you want to do is, if you know someone, family member that have lost their health or losing their health to lifestyle changes, it's really tough to pull them out. You guys can make some changes now. Yeah, the Lean Body Academy focuses on getting you lean, but I want to see your labs improve. I want to see your life improve. I want to see you socially be who you're supposed to be without your body fat influencing your social and your personality dynamics. And again, don't take my word for it. Go to PubMed and type in body fat personality disorders, body fat and cancer, body fat and, it's endless thyroid disorders. Okay? So don't hang your hat on, I've got a thyroid problem. That's why I can't lose weight. Are you supporting your lean body mass with protein and water? Are you, self-loathing? There's all kind of other elements. There's all kind of other elements, not just that one. So don't hang your hat on that. That leaves you no place to be. Thank you, Roberta. Thank you. Hope you're on the call today. If not, it'll be in your members area later today. Hey, Jason. So any more questions on the difference between BMI, why it's antiquated, and knowing your lean body mass? Hopefully, and it's starting to happen slowly, more people are realizing, more professionals are realizing that BMI is just an antiquated, hey, Jason, just an antiquated dynamic that we really need to get past. It's not going to help your health. It's actually going to deprive you psychologically because you're going to be more focused on your weight loss versus improving your health by reducing your body fat. And it's not about exercise, okay? It's not. That's a path we've been led to believe. We did our primaries get on board with this. Some do. I've got several that use my program as their back end to support their patients. Oh, you're so welcome. Some do. Some have blinders on. They're still antiquated in the same old age. Well, it's not about brown fat or internal fat, as you say. It's about your body fat percentage overall. So when people ask me about particular fats or particular areas, I'm saying look at the big picture. We have to reduce our lean body. We have to improve our lean body mass by reducing our body fat. We do that by first knowing what it is. Awesome. We have to know what our lean body mass is, and there's a real easy way to calculate that. Real easy. And it's going to help you more than you realize. But you have to get some factual data, not mythological judgments that in most cases are just taking you down a path of metabolic destruction. And that's probably something that says I should get a radio show. That's probably the reason I don't, because in order to get a radio show, you have to have a sponsor. And I love excellent products. I love excellent information. The good majority of them out there are steering you down a metabolic destructive pathway, because most of them are focusing on weight loss and BMI and not on, hey, look, what's your lean body mass? And there's a huge distinction between the two, okay? I'll answer a few more questions before I go and get started with my other parts of my day, but I always like broadcasting. You can go to leanbodyacademy.info. You can ask your questions there. There's a little, in the sidebar, there's a little comment box. Ask me something, and if I get asked enough, I usually do a broadcast. In fact, I was asked to do a broadcast on this very topic. So it's not a one's. Oh, that's ridiculous, JC. Think about it. Like I mentioned, I made the illustration before, the crude illustration, but it's accurate. You take two, just use women, two 5-foot tall women. One is 20% body fat, one is 30%, two totally different physiques. And I'm betting that they'll have two totally different lab results, personality traits. Remember, body fat above 25%, according to research now, not me, actually influences what researchers call your hormone expression, how your personality expresses itself. That's pretty dynamic. But what are your thoughts on meats, including lean meats? I get that question a lot as well. Lean Body Academy supports both vegan and non-vegans. Meat is a protein source, so the more you cook meat, the more carcinogenic it becomes. So if you're going to eat meat, rare as possible, and the problem with processed meats like lunch meats and things like that, a lot of salt, a lot of sugar, and they're usually processed with high amounts of nitrates. I'm a big sushi fan, but again, Angel, I live in Hawaii, so we get it hours old, and it depends. There's a few fish that have a higher heavy metal content, like things like mercury, and tuna I think is the highest. So you just want to be reasonable. I would definitely, if you were thinking about getting pregnant, I would only eat white fish, and I would consider possibly, I don't want to say abstain from sashimi or sushi, but I would possibly steer away from it while you're pregnant, especially the tunas and the ahi. Tuna, for some reason, have the highest amounts of heavy metals and mercury, which is like running about in the dark with it. Health issues, it's like running. Yeah, if you're following antiquated measures, that's exactly what it is. You're looking in a place that doesn't give you the right answers. They give you one, go exercise more. Oh, you didn't meet your goals, you're not walking enough, you didn't go to the gym enough. That's just so cerebrally nonsensical. The question needs to be asked is, are you meeting your lean body mass protein requirements? Do you eat more white fish? What I do recommend, Kim, is eat your local fish and look at your local dynamics. Yeah, I wouldn't eat sushi if you're pregnant. White fish, and just for that period. Look for where you're at, and look what they have wild caught. I definitely would eat wild caught versus farm raised, just by the research that I've read on that. Again, I'm not against farmers who raised farm raised fish, but the whole goal is to get them as big as fast as possible, right? Because you're in business. Bye-bye. So again, I'm not against anyone. I'm just here sharing the factual data. So I have no personal ad hominem attacks against anyone. I'm not negative. I'm not for or against anything. I'm for accurate information. And I'm of the belief that you guys are smart enough to kind of discern, once you have fundamental knowledge, say, hey, this is how I'm going to move forward. And that's what my programs are all about. My Lean Body Academy, my Life Without Diabetes, my books, my memberships are all about, here's the information. How you choose to apply it is up to you, but my goal is to make it so compelling and easy that you say, I can do this. That's what it's all about. Is it doable information that you can do and your whole family can do? If it's not, I can guarantee you, you're going to be left wanting, and it's not going to serve you. And I get that a lot. How can I use a program that's going to work with my family? Unless you want to be kind of an enigma out by yourself, it's not going to work. Even if you're single, the principles work, and you construct it to your lifestyle dynamic. Good, yeah, check it out. Go to leanbodyacademy.info, and there's all kind of free information there. Get on the newsletter. I send out something every week, some information like that, and you'll never be spammed. So the idea is to get you thinking, and if you can spend 15 minutes a day on yourself, you can do the program. And Monday morning's coaching calls are all about rewiring how we think. How do you feel about milk? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of dairy. You're welcome. I've read a lot of research. I've read over 60 research papers on commercial dairy. If you read what I read, you would avoid it at all costs. My daughter is almost 7. There's no dairy in the house. Sometimes she gets some hard cheese. Sometimes she'll have a rice-based pizza. But the lies we've been told about, you have to have dairy to get calcium, that's not true. If you look at the research, the states that have the highest dairy consumption have the highest pelvic fracture rates. Is it a coincidence? I don't think so. Yeah, again, I have nothing against dairy farmers, but if you look at the research, and I'll give you one brief example. So one of the measurement dynamics of dairy is the bacteria count in the udder. So they have someone from the agricultural department test the amount of bacteria that comes out of the udder. And in this country, I believe the number is 1.2 million parts per million of bacteria. And the last research I checked, they're trying to raise that to 1.7 parts. So they're actually trying to lower the standard of bacteria, make it higher. In Europe, it's about 700,000 parts per million. So our commercial dairy would not be acceptable in Europe just based on that fact. Raw milk, I think it has some real. I think raw milk has some real benefits, but again, it's about $10 to $15 a gallon, and it keeps for about 2 days. So to me, there's no real. It tastes phenomenal, but to me, unless you have a situation where you can get it easily, it doesn't really matter on the milk. It matters on the processing. Yeah, I would avoid soy milk, especially if you're a man. It seems to have hormonal precursors. Fermented soy appears not to, but soy milk appears to. So when I start seeing inferred negative things with foods, I look for alternative sources, and there's so many other white drinks out there. There's oat, there's almond, there's unsweetened rice, there's so many. I would steer clear of soy. Again, just on the research that I've read from the hormonal activities. So even if you're a woman, I don't want things monkeying with my hormones. Neither should you, especially from our food source. So again, I'm Dr. George Kosmides. Thanks, guys, for joining my broadcast. You guys can share me out by hitting those 3 dots. You guys can follow me by hitting the icon there, and I'll give you a shout. I appreciate that. Today's call was basically on BMI versus lean body mass. BMI is antiquated. If your system or your program is based on BMI, it's treating you like you're a sack of potatoes, basically. It's your height to weight ratio. And again, I was denied life insurance because my BMI was off. Sky puts estrogen in your body. Sky. I'm not sure what you mean by sky. If you mean the atmosphere, well, there's nothing we can do about that. It doesn't. According to research, unfermented soy. Let's be accurate. You're an LBA member, so that's good. But let's be accurate. Unfermented soy appears to have hormonal inferences with our receptor sites. Appears to. Okay, there's an inference there. Whereas there's no inference with unsweetened rice, there's no inferences with unsweetened almond, there's no inferences with unsweetened oat that I could find. So my logic is, well, if this infers that this may be a problem hormonally, why don't we move to another one? And again, it doesn't have to be, in my mind, more complicated than that. Until I'm presented with research that refutes that processed soy inference, then I'm going to continue with the stance, well, I'm just going to avoid unfermented soy products. I think tamari is fermented. So edamame, the soybeans in the raw where they're frozen and you just warm them up, that should be fine. Tempeh is fermented. So again, it's the unfermented that's a problem. See, just that one simple dynamic, and that's what I teach in my whole programs, is about simple dynamics that we don't get in the media. We don't get this sort of, specifics, and that's what we need to make better judgments. We need specificity. Okay. Hey, thanks for joining my broadcast. Again, this was BMI versus lean body mass. Lean body mass is going to serve you. BMI is not going to serve you. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'm Dr. George Kosmides. Check out more of me at the banner above, right here, leanbodyacademy.info. A lot of free stuff on there. Get on the mailing list. We'll help you out with some information and let you take control of your body. Okay, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.